is Module 1, Lesson 11, Homework Help. Alright, so we have to solve by drawing a disk on a place value chart. Write an equation and express the product in standard form. So, first we have to do 4 copies of 10. 4 copies of 3/10. Alright, so we need to draw the place value chart. Alright, so this is our tenths. This is our ones. And here's our decimal. So it says 3/10. So I'm going to start off with 3/10. And now I'm going to make 4 copies of it. And then I get to group 10 of them and move them over to the ones. That gives me 1 and 2/10. Alright, so how does that look in standard form? Well, 3/10 is 0.3. So 4 times 3/10 equals 12/10, which is equal to 1 and 2/10. All right, moving on. Let's do it again. This time we're going to the hundreds. If you look here, it is hundreds. So our place value chart needs to go to hundreds. So I'm going to call this hundreds. These are my tenths. And these are my ones. All right, so it's saying 2 hundredths. 5 groups of them. 2, 3, 4, 5. And I get to group these all together to make 1/10. So my number is, first I have to write it down, the equation. We have 5 groups of, the word of means multiply a lot of times in math, 2 hundredths equals 1, oops, that's wrong, 0, 1, 0. Okay, if you're wondering how I got that, on your chart, hopefully you know that the decimal goes here, there's 1 here, and there's 0 here. So that's my answer, 0.10. Okay. Making it a little shorter so that you can see and I can fit everything in. All right, here again we have hundredths. So we have hundredths. We have tenths. And we have ones. Okay, so we have to start off with 4 hundredths. And we have to make 6 copies of them. Of the 4 hundredths. That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Now again, we need to group them in groups of 10. We can move them over. We have another group of 10. Move that over. And we're left with 4. So our answer is 0.24. Or if you look carefully, 6 times 4 is 24 hundredths. All right, so 6 times 4 is 24, and since the units are hundredths, it would be 24 hundredths. We can also see 24 hundredths right here, but we get to compose 10 and 10 and move them over. It's like thinking of pennies, changing the pennies into dimes. Okay, so we have 2 dimes and 4 pennies is another way of saying it. Now this last one is thousands. So we have another place value. That thousandths. We still have our hundreds. And we have our tenths and our ones. And don't forget the decimal. All right, so we need to start off with thousands. We're going to start off with 4 of them. We already saw this problem. It was in a different place though. And we know we can group 10 of them. And they become hundredths. So we know there's 100ths and 2 thousandths. We have 0 in the tens place and 0 in the ones place. All right, so hopefully you can see that 4 thousandths times 3 equals 12 thousandths. All right, so that's using place value understanding. Now we're going to move on to the area model. Here's an area model. And what we're going to do is we're going to put something on the side. And the first thing we're going to put is a 3, because there's our 3. All right. Now we have our 9 ones. Okay. And then we have our hundredths again. We have 6. Sorry about that. 9 ones. Okay. We have 6 tenths. And then we have 3 hundredths. All right. So hopefully they see 9 times 3 and they know that's 27 ones. Then we have 6 times 3, and that's 18 tenths. And 3 times 3 equals 9 hundredths. Okay, so now we need to put them together. 27 ones is 27. Our decimal's right here. 18 tenths is 18 right there. Sorry about that. 3 times 3 is 9, so that's 9 hundredths. Okay, and we add that up. So our answer is 28 and 89/100ths. Okay? All right. Let's start one from the beginning, or from this part. Okay, our 8 goes here. We have a 2 ones here. Then we have 3/10. And we have 4/100ths. And I should shorten this. All right, so we have 8 on all of these, and they're going to multiply times the 2 ones. That will give me 16 ones. Eight times 3/10 will give me 24/10. And then we have 8 times 4/100ths will give me 32/100ths. So it's 16 plus 2 and 4/10. And we have 32/100ths. We add these all up. Make sure you line up that decimal, something we learned already. Remember that the 16 has a decimal. It just happens to be right there. We add them up.